This is episode 17 of Give Me a Chance, and it is your host to speaking, Victoria. Hi everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Give Me a Chance. I wanted to say a small word of thank you to all of you who are listening in every week, and that means the world to me. So thank you very much for supporting this community. And as every week, I'm gonna give you now a little news story. This time we will listen to Kyler's story and we will learn how he got the chance to change his life after he moved to Montreal, left his previous job as a salesman and started his own new career as a photographer and a content creator, following his own passion for it. Let's go listen to Kyler's story. Hi Kyler, welcome to Give Me a Chance. How are things going?
Things are going okay. We've had many COVID cases. It's end of February right now in 2021. And we have a lockdown. So from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. we can't go outside. And so a lot of things are shut down. So it's been a slow couple months for sure, but I'm pretty busy with what I do day in and day out. So, it goes by really quick, but overall things are really good. All my family and friends are healthy. I'm looking forward to the weekend. It's a Friday afternoon. It's beautiful outside. So yeah, things are good.
What have you been doing during the pandemic? Have you been doing new things?
Well, I actually started this podcast. I have my own podcast during the epidemic when it first started in March. So I started in January 2020 and just continued with it.
I think we're going to go into the story of how you came to the idea of your podcast a little bit later on. But I hear that you are in Montreal right now. Mm-hmm. And my question to you is actually, have you always been there? What is your story?
That's a great question. No, I haven't been. I've only lived in Montreal, Quebec, Canada for about 2 years. And my story started off, I fell in love with a girl from Montreal. We met in Vancouver, BC, which is where I'm from. Mm-hmm. And without much of a plan I kind of followed her here. I took the leap and I moved across the country for love without much of a plan for a job or prospects. I just I fell head over heels over this girl. And I also was in a time in my life where I wasn't overly happy with my career. Mm. And so it gave me an excuse to kind of leave the job I was at and pursue something else in a brand new environment, in a place I've never, ever been before. So it was very new.
What were you doing in Vancouver? What was your life like at the time before you moved?
So I was in sales, actually. I went to school at BCIT, which is a college in British Columbia, and I studied sales and marketing. And for a long time, I love interacting with people. I love public speaking. And so sales seemed to be the kind of following that career path, right? And I did that for a number of years, working for big and small companies like SAP, Salesforce, and then a lot of smaller companies like Startup Size in Vancouver. So that was more my professional life. I mean, my whole life I grew up in Vancouver, so a lot of my family and friends are from there. But I wasn't really passionate or loved what I did. There's aspects I love, but overall it was not like what I truly desired.
Because what were your passions at the time?
Well, I played a lot of sports, so that was really great. I also was a hip hop dancer, so I used to teach hip hop dance. And so that was kind of like the first creative outlet I had, coming up with routines and teaching young people hip hop. And that's kind of how my girlfriend and I connected. We connected over dance, and we shared that love. So that was really my hobby and passion at the time, was dancing.
Yeah, you sound like a really creative person. And I think that kind of leads us to the question to, actually, you said you moved to Vancouver, you followed, your love for your girlfriend, and you moved away. But was that the chance for you to change your life?
100%. Like I said earlier, I really didn't have much of a plan to land on my feet. And what I mean by that is that I had a job lined up, but before I could even start, they laid off a bunch of people. So it ended up falling through. So when I mean I had no plan, I had no plan. Like Montreal is a French-speaking province first and English second. Growing up in Vancouver, although I'm Canadian, it's not common that a lot of people speak French. Getting a job was quite difficult. I was struggling, right? I was trying to find a job. I didn't know what I wanted, but I wasn't passionate about any job. Like any job I wanted in sales, you had to speak French. So that was off the table. I couldn't go into a sales job unless it was from the US and I worked remotely. And at that time in 2019, there was no remote jobs like it is now, right? What there was an opportunity to pursue a passion I've always had. My girlfriend, Tanya, she had a camera. And something that I've always loved on Instagram, I used to follow a bunch of photographers, was taking photos. And I just wanted to do it. I didn't think that it would turn into anything. I just went outside, and because I'm in a brand new city, it was very easy to find the beauty in a lot of things, and people walking across the street and the landmarks and all the history that Montreal has. So I pursued photography, not as a career, just as a hobby and a passion, as I was applying for jobs and getting turned down. What ended up happening was I actually ended up landing a job as a content creator, making content for a business. So that was a fun transition after actually coming here to Montreal.
And that sounds fantastic that you got the chance to turn your passion for photography into a real job, because how did you get in contact to that employer?
I just started looking up on YouTube, like how to become a content creator. How do you make this a full thing? Once I realized that this was something I really want to do, that I went deep into research, and I had a lot of time on my hands. So I spent a lot of time looking at people that I admired, looking at people who I would like to become one day, and kind of looking at what they did. And a lot of the commonality that these YouTubers and people on Instagram who post those kind of photos, they all went to like coffee shops and like retail stores, and they just walked in and say, "Hey, do you mind if I shoot a couple photos for you for free? No charge. I'm just looking to get some experience." And that was the beginning of getting myself in there. And because I was in sales, I was good with connecting with people, right?
Exactly.
And ended up landing a couple opportunities to shoot photos for them, a lot of coffee shops, a lot of small retailers in Montreal, a couple clothing lines. But then I started building a portfolio. So now when I was applying for jobs, I had the experience to back up what my passion was.
Yeah.
So really, when I did land the job, that's what got me in.
What did you gain from this leap that you've taken?
Not to toot my own horn, but I'm so grateful that I took the leap and had this faith that things were going to work out. I'm a very positive person, and a lot of people might look at, like I could never take that jump, that risk, because you don't know what you're going to do. But at that time, I didn't have much to lose. I knew that I wanted to take a chance with this relationship, and I wanted to see where my career could take me and what limits I had of myself, because I wasn't challenged at my current job in Vancouver. So by coming here, taking that leap, taking that chance, I found, number one, my passion. I found the love of my life. And I also now am creating my own business around my passion, right? Right now I'm working full time, doing this for a company. But in the end, my long-term goal is to do it for myself and build my own business. So that's what this chance has done, is given me the courage and confidence to do what I want to do in this life.
Something that everybody, I think, strives towards, and not many people have the courage to do, I can imagine, because it's a really bold move. But is there something that you gained out of this experience that you didn't expect when you started it off?
Well, I didn't expect to love my job. Like I didn't expect to, and don't get me wrong, there's some days I dread. I wake up and I don't want to go to work. And I think that's for everybody. But I would say 8-9 times out of 10, I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the work that I do. And the days go by fast. Like what I didn't expect was I thought I would find a job and I would, I was living my life from 5 to 10, meaning after work. My life started after work because I didn't enjoy my work.
Yeah.
Now my life is my life. It's from when I wake up to when I go to bed, because it encompasses my interest. That's what I didn't expect getting out of it.
Now you're doing what you love. And I think that what you said before, you came up with the idea of a podcast of your own. And I think that just also goes along the lines of doing what you really love for a living. How did the idea of your podcast come about?
Yeah, so you kind of just said it. Basically, within 6 months of me moving to Montreal with no job prospects, I went from knowing nothing about photography and videography to getting hired full time as a photographer, videographer for a company. So it's a very quick turnaround. And so I wanted to help people who were like myself, who had a passion for, let's say, dance or starting a business or starting a podcast, or they have a passion for something, but they don't have the courage or they don't believe that they can actually go and do it. So I started a podcast called Making It Happen, where I help people and show people that it can happen if you put in the right tools, the right energy, and the right mindset to make your dreams happen. And that's what I bring guests on my show to talk about their stories, because after a while, people hear my story and they want to hear new ones. So I bring guests to share their story and I've had guests that come on the show that have unbelievable stories, that were homeless, that became a six-figure entrepreneur, and incredible inspirational stories,
Yeah.
and how they're making it happen.
What are the main things, the main practical things that you learned out of the stories you heard through your podcast?
I learned how important the mind is, like with every aspect of our life, because a lot of times, have you ever felt you need to go to the gym, but you don't have the energy to do it? And it's amazing what mindset does and how important it plays with day-to-day motivation. And that is the number one thing I've learned from my guests, is that all that they do the same or very similar is they all have a mindset practice. They do something, whether that's journaling, meditating, they do something to elevate their mindset, to continue learning and improving. And if you can get that down, it's amazing what action you can do and then accomplish. So it starts here, right? That's the number one thing. I'm pointing, if you're listening, I'm pointing at my head.
As you say, mindset and probably consistency also are the
100%.
Yeah.
Because consistency builds up your experience, right? If I only made one video a month, I would not have landed the job I have now. When I decided that I wanted to become a content creator, I did it every day to the point of annoying my girlfriend. I did it every day, because every day I got better. Every day I learned something new. And that's how you progress, right?
And talking about things that you might want to reach through consistency and through mindset, what are the wildest dreams you would want to achieve?
I'm still, I like, now that I am a photographer, videographer, I want to go back and travel. Like, I've done some traveling. I've been to Europe, I've been to Africa, different parts of Central America and the US, but I want to go travel now with my camera. I want to go tell stories from people in different worlds and share, again, the mindset that's different in people's minds in different places of the world, because you realize when you travel, and especially places like Africa, how happy people are because of the perspective they have on life. They don't care so much about the fancy car and the clothes. They care more about the family, the friends, their love, and teaching people and helping people that it's all here. Everything, your happiness, the goals that you set, it all starts in the mind. And if you can really work on your mindset, you can achieve anything you want. And I truly believe that. So what my biggest dreams and aspirations are, that I would get paid to travel the world, document my experience, and just meet the most interesting people in this world, because connecting with people is what it's all about. And that's why I think my happiness lives, and documenting that and showing the world would be a dream come true.
What is the one country you would want to visit as soon as possible?
Well, I'm going to be more selfish. I want to go to Greece. I know Greece is just so beautiful. Yeah, Greece is just so beautiful. I mean, the blue water, the beaches, the people, it is such a beautiful place. More for just like the sightseeing and the touristy and the hot sun. That would be the first place I go, just because it's just breathtakingly beautiful. And there's so many islands. I've been to a few, but there's so many islands to explore. It's its own little paradise there.
So Kyler, many thanks for being with me tonight and this afternoon and just before our weekend starts. And it's been great listening to your story, and it's so inspirational. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And just a last thing I could give advice is to just don't be afraid to just go after it and just do it. Like, it's amazing what you can do if you just start. And don't be afraid of what people are going to say, because it's so easy to get caught up in what you think people are going to say about you in social media. But we all start crawling before we can run, before we can leap, before we can run a marathon. We all start at zero. And we all have to crawl. So go after it. Just do it. It does pay off. I'm 2 years in the making of like literally living my dream. This was my dream 2 years ago to be at this point. I'm now living it. Now I have a new dream. So in 2 years, when we reconnect, or maybe sooner, let's do this again. And hopefully you guys can really make it happen.
This was Kyler's story. Relocating from Vancouver to Montreal meant to Kyler that he had to leave his own past behind, and that included his own job as a salesman. But going to Montreal meant for him a possibility to delve a little bit more into his own passion for photography. Kyler got the chance to change his life right there in Montreal as he reinvented himself as a photographer, a content creator, and a podcaster. This was the end of this episode. Have you ever had the chance to change your life, or do you know anybody who has? Please get in touch with us and leave a comment here below. And if you have enjoyed this episode, do not forget to like and subscribe to this channel, and see you next time. Give me a chance, on your screen and in your ears.